All right. Today, we're going to talk about solving equations by clearing fractions. So this has come up a little bit over the course of the year, but then I realized I didn't quite give a very direct lesson on it. So if you feel like you know how to clear fractions and you've been successful, I'd say just go for the practice, which is the evens. If during the course of the year you have missed a number of these, it's a required skill to be known by the end of algebra. So go through the few examples and then again, do the evens. So the way you clear fractions, clearing fractions means you get rid of fractions in the first steps. You don't deal with them for the rest of the equation. Sure, you can solve the equations with the fractions. It's just a bit of a headache and it takes a while. Part of math is being efficient, coming up with the best strategy for solving harder problems. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for the least common denominator. And if we multiply the entire equation by the least common denominator, the fractions go away. So here's the thing. You can do whatever you want to equations, just like in when you looked at elimination, right? You could multiply by anything you want as long as you multiplied every term by it. So I'm going to look at this problem number 1. And I notice that the least common denominator is 4. So I'm going to multiply everything in this equation by 4. Okay, so 4 times 9/4 means the denominator and the 4 just cancel out. And if it's easier, you can think about it as 4 over 1. So I just get 9x. Then I multiply by the term that doesn't have a fraction. That's the part a lot of people miss. 4 times 1 is 4, so plus 4. Now I have 4 times 11 halves. So basically, here's what you're doing. You're just doing this small multiplication fraction problem off to the side. Try to use cross canceling. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice. 11 times 2 is 22. Boom. Solve the rest of the equation. Subtract 4, divide by 9. All right. Let's look at another one. Let's look at number 3. Again, common denominator is 4. I just wanted to remind you that you distribute to anything in the equation, every separate term, even if it doesn't have a fraction in it. So this would become negative 4m. This would become negative 7. So watch your signs. This becomes negative 31. Boom. Solve. Isn't that way easier, right? Like, I love these. Okay, let's skip then to the backside. I want to look at some ones that are a little bit harder. I want to look at number 11. Okay. Oh, and notice off to the side, it said the least common denominator. You can put that there if you want. Not a big deal. As long as you showed that you multiplied, then we're good. Okay, so number 11. Okay, 4 and 5. Least common denominator is 20. Okay. So we're going to multiply everything by 20. So what makes this harder is just that there's more terms, right? There's 4 terms. So 20 times 80 is 160. A fourth of 20 is 5, so I get negative 5x. 2/5 of 20, 5 goes into 24 times. 4 times 2 is 8, so equals 8x. And then 20 times 14 is 200 plus 80, so we get 280. Okay, again, solve. Okay, last one. 13 is tricky because the least common denominator is kind of big. So what do 6, 4, 3, and 8 go into? 24. Okay, so times 24. So just be careful when you're doing your distributing that you don't make any mistakes in the fractions. So it's negative 11/6 times 24. 6 goes into itself once, goes into 24 4 times, and 4 times negative 11 is negative 44a. So that's kind of what I did last time here. I said 5 goes into 20 4 times, and 4 times 2 is 8. I did this process in my head, which you can totally do, just don't make any mistakes. So let's try that for the next term. 4 goes into 24 6 times, and 6 times 13, 60 plus 18 is 78. Okay, and if that part doesn't make sense, just do it onto the side, just like I did here. Okay, I'm just trying to show you some ways to mentally do these. Okay, negative, so I distribute it here. Now I'm gonna distribute here. So negative 2/3 a times 24. 3 goes into 24 8 times. 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. Throw an a on the end. And then my last distribution, 8 goes into 24 3 times. 3 times 5 is negative 15. All right, and then I would solve. Okay, but I am going to ask you to do one step here. Combine like terms. I would do this before you solve. Each side should be totally simplified before you start moving to the other side. So if you owe someone 16 A's and then you owe them 15 more A's, you owe them 31 A's. Okay, some people like to say -1. It's only -1 if you're adding 15A. Okay, so that's it. Super short lesson. Your homework is the evens. Okay. If you need help, as always, ask, show all your work. If you need a little bit more room for the actual solving, that's fine. Use another piece of paper, just label it. And if you're finding that you're getting them wrong and you think your solving's right, go back and give yourself some room to do a problem like this multiplication off to the side. So you would just show -5/8 times 24/1, and then do your cross canceling, and then make sure you get the right answer. So if you're getting your fractions wrong or your terms wrong, just go back to that step, and you can have little mini fraction problems all down the side, because that's essentially what you're doing in the first step. So don't get them wrong just because you did the fraction multiplication wrong. Okay, cool. On the test, when you do the blue problems, if you do blue, you have to clear fractions in the first step. Okay, so if you don't, it wouldn't be considered blue level. Yeah, so just so you know. Okay, cool. Good job. See you later.